But we at the foundation have taken a step back and said, okay, if we're taking a financial services or a financial access perspective, what's the broadest place to start? So we started with the universe. You can see that if you can make anything out at all up there, you can see that, the poor are concentrated in the biggest countries in Asia. And that's just a sort of a map of the different countries where the under $2 a day people are living. Okay, and there's 2.6 billion people on under $2 a day. You all know that sort of stuff. Then what we did is we said, okay, how can we figure out anything about this universe that's useful? Because it's kind of hard, we all struggle with this every time we write a proposal for somebody. Who's our universe? Who are we talking about? What are characteristics that are useful for understanding the universe? And what we decided after much struggle, which you're all, you're aware, you've done this sort of thing, is we said, let's take a livelihood approach. Let's see what the numbers tell us about the numbers of families, number of people who earn their living in sort of basic ways. We all understand that many poor households have multiple sources of income, and so this isn't ever as clean as you'd like it in an ideal world. But sort of, where is the main activity of that 2.6 billion people? And what we came to, we actually hired a big consulting firm to do this sort of thing, right? To crank away numbers for quite a while. Several months worth of cranking around numbers all over the world. And they added it up a bunch of ways that are not PowerPoint friendly, so you're not going to see it all. So anyway, this is what we came up to, and I hope you can read that. You can see it sort of builds from left to right. You get to the 2.6 on the far right. And what it has is each of those bars are gradually building up different groups of people according to livelihood. That's how you get to the 2.6. You see it's sort of additive as you go left to right. And the smallholder farmers are, 610 million, and then casual laborers, 365 million, low-wage salaried workers, 300 million. That's how you understand that. Micro-entrepreneurs, 180 million, 100 million unemployed poor, artisanal fishermen, pastoralists, and then you get to the whole working age population of 1.6 billion, right? Then you add youth, 800 million, elderly, 200 million, you get to the 2.6 billion. It's just sort of an approach. What are people mostly doing to earn their incomes? So we thought that would actually drive the way they look at finance, or part of important ways at which they look at finance. And of course, our whole business has mostly taken a perspective of sort of the enterprise-based, or the micro-enterprise, or the productive activities-based, as opposed to reaching out to what are actually pretty large segments, right, of casual workers, low-wage salaried workers. You can see these are huge populations. They may even exceed the number of people in the group that are primarily dedicated to the kinds of things we've developed our services for. And then there's the whole smallholder farmers, which are divided into a number of different categories. So the basic point is simply that we kind of, if all lives are sort of have equal value, then why would we prefer to work with one group than another? Sort of, at least initially. Why wouldn't we want to work with sort of everybody of that income level? So that's where we started. We also added another sort of dimension to this, which was, are there other sort of characteristics of people that might have profound implications for the kinds of financial services they would demand or require? And the consulting firm went through and sorted out a bunch of different possibilities and came up with these sorts of drivers for financial services. You have urban migrants, international migrants, transfer recipients, widows, temporary rural migrants, sharecroppers, refugees, debt-bonded workers, child-head households. And you can see the numbers on the top of each of those columns. And what struck me about this is the first 4 or 5 columns are really about people who are working somewhere else, and yet their sort of family base is not where they're working. And so there's something going on here about people needing to move money around countries, in countries, to widows, to family members, back home, whatever. There's actually kind of a sizable number of people, maybe even 500 million people in the world, who have some sort of need for moving money safely, quickly, and cheaply, right? That was kind of striking to me out of that. And then, of course, these two things overlap. There's some sort of intersection between these two ways of looking at sort of who the clients are in terms of shaping eventual